What does a cartographer pour on top of his pancakes? Maple syrup. Welcome to the stream. Happy Monday, my friends. Thank you for being here. I had my lamp set at the wrong setting, and now it feels too bright. Maybe I've made a mistake. I hope you're doing well, though. Welcome into Dead Zergling, first in chat tonight, followed by Lucent Jelly and Emil. Welcome in. Pleasure to have you all here. Hope your week's getting off to a good start. Delicious, Jelly says. I'm really hoping I haven't told that joke before because it felt familiar. It felt more familiar the more I dwelled on it, but, I mean, oh well. We've only done, what, like 1,000 of these? Probably not quite. It's probably around... It might be around, like, 800 though. Probably 700, 800 between there. My kids like it when I make them banana flavored syrup. I mean, any kind of fruit. I think it's pretty hard to go wrong with pancakes and syrup, right? I don't know if I've ever actually had banana with my pancakes though, and I like bananas. I like bananas, but the thing is I eat bananas all the time. So, they're not a treat to me. I don't eat pancakes that often, so I probably wouldn't combine bananas with pancakes because pancakes are so special and rare, and bananas are so mundane. I hope this is the right password. I'm a little confused by my password sheet here. I kind of just wrote passwords all over the place, and now I'm struggling a little bit to be sure which one is which. So, just one game on the schedule tonight. Mario's Missing's the only thing that I have planned. If we finish this, and there's a couple hours left to stream, like if I, it's about midnight right now for me. If I finish this before or around, like, 4 a.m., that's what I would consider having a few hours left. The plan, as much as I'm probably going to regret it, is to fill in the remaining time by going back to Jump King. I haven't played Jump King in like a year and a half. I think there was one night where I fired it up between that time. And if you missed any of that playthrough, don't worry, because last time where we left off, I was exactly at the beginning. I lost 100% of my progress. Not that I ever made much, but Jelly says, I was worried you were going to say Echo again. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh. Alright, so we should be at a boss fight right here. Yeah, alright, so this is the correct password. Let's just quickly redo this boss battle. Oh, wait a minute. He can't even damage you. I was just about to say, there's no life or lives in this game. What even happens if he hits you? Apparently nothing. I was playing so... I was playing so cautiously. When I was first starting to go low carb, I'd have bananas with my coffee. Are bananas low carb friendly, or was that just because it was just useful for the transition period? It's such a happy game, Jelly says. Comfy, welcome in, Persephone. Now I go lurk. Thank you for the lurk. I hope you enjoy. Hope we maintain some cozy, comfy vibes, and you're able to enjoy your evening with us. Bananas are absolutely not low carb friendly. That's why I started with those. No way I have them now. Echo if you finish early. Okay, now I go lurk. Now I'm free from Echo for at least a year. That's the way the curse works. If I beat Echo, then the curse is lifted for at least a year. All right, I'm gonna guess we're in New York. Oh, let me go ahead and very quickly put my money where my mouth is and head right there. All right. I was thinking I was maybe wrong, or I could be wrong. How do you see the map? There we go. Statue of Liberty and I guess the Empire State Building, but that letter I seems to be really far away from it, and I don't know what that other thing on the right is. It looks like an upside down blimp? I have no idea. So I tend to have bananas for breakfast a lot. My typical breakfast is a scoop of almonds and a banana and a glass of milk. And you know, sometimes I might have like cashews or walnuts instead of almonds, and sometimes I might swap out a different piece of fruit, but usually bananas they go to. And it's not because I'm necessarily crazy about bananas. Alright. So the gorilla, I guess that's the zoo over here. The gorilla goes back to the zoo. The bananas are just like, they taste alright, and they're affordable, and they're convenient. It's very easy to eat a banana. Which is what makes them my go-to. The thing is that they go bad so quickly. If I get a bunch of bananas and I don't have one every day, they very quickly go to waste. That might be a fountain. Alright, well, let's learn about everything. Where am I? Thanks for asking one of New York's finest. You're in New York City. A King Kong plays ping pong on the Empire State Building. So our gorilla is not just any gorilla. Our gorilla is in fact King Kong. this... The thing is that now this really calls into question every artifact that we've collected and every fact that we have learned about geography for this entire game so far now. Unless... I mean, I thought I had it on pretty good authority that King Kong didn't actually exist. Perhaps I am learning to, perhaps I am learning things I never expected to learn. I'm happy you found Prometheus, and see, now here's the thing, I don't even know if this is a statue, if I found the real King Kong. Did I also find the real Prometheus? Lurk mode activated. Thank you for the lurk, Emil. I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope that we managed to be excellent background company for you. Prometheus. We were certain we were in Rockefeller Plaza with a thief among us. Oh, that's how that's supposed to rhyme. I butchered that. Hey, Derpelganger, welcome in. Donkey Kong exists in Mario's world. King Kong is related, but I didn't think we were in the Mario world. I thought we were in the real world. I thought this was before Mario and Luigi got sucked down that drain into the Mushroom Kingdom. Where am I? Being an early bird in the Big Apple really helps. That god has been painted gold. He must look at the ice skating rink and get awfully cold. Oh. Monkey business. That's from the skyscraper he climbed in his movie. I mean, I guess it could just be a statue of King Kong. I mean, they are sort of not acknowledging that Prometheus is a statue, so that's probably it. I'm probably too worried about it. So I guess this is neither the Statue of Liberty nor Rockefeller Plaza, so this probably comes back here. But we don't want to return it yet. Rockefeller Center. Prometheus was stolen. Okay. Let's read our pamphlet. Isn't this considered an educational game? I mean, I thought so. I hope this doesn't ruin the game too much for you, Frownie, but Mario, Yoshi, and Luigi are fictional characters too. Didn't you see the no spoilers tag, Zergling? What are you doing? Look, I'm willing to accept all the blatantly fictional elements. It's just my issue was I thought that the artifacts and locations we are learning about were going to be real world things. Radio City Music Hall was made world famous by the dance troupe The Rockettes. The all-female group was started in Missouri in 1925. They took their name from the Roxy Theater, their original New York City home. The Rockettes have performed their high kicks in Radio City since its opening day in 1932. There's a lot of dates here. Missouri, 1925. Radio City, 1932. The music hall was built to be the largest and showiest theater in the world, despite the Depression, which was then at its worst. The theater is a famous Art Deco landmark. Right, and the statue that overlooks the skating rink is Prometheus. That's the only that's the only option. Like, it's not like I'm carrying any other statues. Rockefeller Center Street closes one day a year because, oh no. So the street will remain private property. The street cleaners need a holiday. The ice skating rink is closed. I'm gonna guess the last one. Huh. That's odd. Alright. Victory. Watch TV 200. Oh, I feel like I'm in RoboCop. The group started out as first-line defense against bird invasion, Turbo Forces Turboganger says, but it was discovered that the Rockettes could only kick as high as their legs would permit. What's that say? Drink Cool D, yummy. Buy Sam? I don't know. Bye. Oh. The country is divided into 50 states, but the nation's capital isn't in any of them. Oh, I guess because I'm in the U.S. Okay. I was thinking... for a moment there, I thought the game was trying to teach me that New York was the capital of the U.S. Maybe the big ape could give me a hand to check out the 102nd floor. Alright. King Kong was stolen and we can't reopen until it gets returned. Hey, Itarama, welcome in. Pleasure to have you. Why would you play this, Frownie? This is my third night with this game, Itty. I've been playing this for a little while. I like this game. I've been saying this a lot, and like the thing is, like I can get if you went into this game not knowing what to expect, or if you received this game as a child, I can understand why someone would hate this game. But going into it knowing that it's an educational game as an adult, I find this game to be very chill, very comfy, and I'm having a great time. It's laid back. It's got pleasant, relaxing music. It's very low stress. I'm actually really enjoying this game. I don't have any I don't have many complaints about it. I got a few here and there. Like, I'm having real trouble coming to terms with the idea that King Kong is real. But no, I'm actually having a great time with this game. Washington, D.C. isn't considered in a state? I had no idea. No, I believe it's neither, it is neither a state nor is it in a state. It's just its own separate little thing. I think they're talking about his statue and also his character when speaking of exploits. Yeah, yeah, I think that's right too. I was having a little fun. I mean, at first I thought that they meant the legit King Kong, but then I found a statue of Prometheus, and they kind of talk about him the same way. So I was like, oh, all right, that's just what this game does. Frownie can appreciate games like this after his Horse and Echo the Dolphin games. I mean, that's the thing, is like, yeah, it's like one of those horse games that we played, but it's not nearly as confusing or frustrating. It's just the it's sort of just the good parts. Named after New York's nickname, the Empire State Building stands 1,453 feet tall. At 102 stories, it's the third tallest building in the world, or probably was, and is served by 73 elevators. It would take 30 minutes to climb the 1,860 stairs, but the express elevator will carry you to the 80th floor in under a minute. Oh, wow. While King Kong is a fictional character, the resident window washer can be seen daily, climbing the portable scaffolds which enable her to move easily around the 5 acres of windows. Each pane gets washed once a month. That's a lot more frequently than I wash my windows. And it's a lot less effort. Alright, how tall is the Empire State Building? 102 stories. I think this would have been the correct amount of feet, but stories it is. The Empire State Building is in the location of, oh no, I don't actually know, Kongsville. Manhattan? Oh, thank goodness. Alright, we're 2 for 2. No, maybe if I were under contract to clean my windows once a month, I'd be more motivated. So I'm gonna guess that the flame has been taken from the Statue of Liberty. The torch was stolen. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from the French people to commemorate the friendship between the countries, which started during the American Revolution. Built by Franco-Italian sculptor Frederick Bartholdi, Miss Liberty was dedicated on October 28th, 1886, so the centennial ish, a couple days before Halloween. Made from copper, the statue weighs 225 tons and stands 151 feet tall. Her nose alone is 4 feet long. The torch in her right hand is raised above the Hudson River. Her left hand holds the Declaration of Independence. You know what? I actually don't think I knew that. I don't think I ever knew what the book she was holding was, or plaque, or whatever it is. I mean, I wonder, does it actually have the entire Declaration of Independence inscribed on it? I mean, surely it's big enough, but... I mean, maybe not if the letters are to scale, but... The statue stands on Liberty Island in the New York Harbor. That's a question. The poor Koopa Troopas. should have known. They should have known a life of crime doesn't pay. You go around stealing priceless artifacts, and one day an Italian plumber and a dinosaur is gonna jump on you, and you're gonna poof out of existence. Yoshi travels in a weird way north or south. I think he's moving at a high speed because he wants to get across the road quickly. Doesn't want to be hit by traffic. Right, I didn't even talk to anybody about the torch. Such is life. What does the lady hold in her hands? A torch and a Declaration of Independence. A flashlight and a map. Miss Liberty looks a lot like... Oh, I have no idea. The sculptor's mom. Hey! Victory. We've finished the city. We're done. One down, 4 to go. Oh no, I'm not done. I forgot one of the most important parts of the game. I was about to leave and never be able to come back. I would have ruined everything. I forgot to get our pictures taken. This is what it's all about. These are our trophies. We have to get our photos. Has Mario learned about the Prohibition era? Be hilarious if he does. I do not know. Maybe in Mario's time machine. The sign says buy, sell, buy. Oh. That makes sense. What do you do with the reward money? I think it's just score. Oh, it's cool. The drink is cool cola. Or just cool. I thought I had it scrolled so it was cut off by the edge of the screen, so I thought it said cool D. No, that's not sale. Well, I don't know what it is. I gave up on trying to read it. The Empire State Building. It looks, not so tall. Maybe it's the aspect ratio. Delhi. Uh-oh. Where's the Statue of Liberty? It's towering over everything else. What do you expect? Why do you demand more? I can't help it if I'm hard to impress. See, the Statue of Liberty looks like she would tower over the Empire State Building. For sure. Alright, now we've done it. I would have been very sad if I'd left and forgotten to get my pictures. I actually need to start a new post-it note. I wonder if my post-it pad is anywhere nearby. And of course, it is currently not. Damn, birds can tower over the Empire State Building. That's why the rockets were summoned. Yeah, I have no idea where my post-it pad is. I'll just have to use... I'll use this one. This was my Contra Advanced passwords. I'm not going to need those anymore. I mean, I didn't need them then. Hey, Mile High Rule, welcome in. Thank you for the raid. How you're liking Starfield? I think that's what you're playing. $5ZXV3 star D. 5ZXV 3 D. Loving it. Right on. That's good to hear. Gotten a lot of mixed reviews on that one. So I'm glad you're having a good time with it. You have to load the rockets first with springs, then they can launch. They're a silent weapon other than the screaming. It's not a scream, it's a war cry. Right, shout outs to our friend Mile High Rule. Alright, I actually like to start on the left side and work my way to the right. So we're going to do that for the rest of these doors. I'm going to guess we are in Italy. I don't know where we are, but I'm thinking... Well, I was thinking somewhere European, maybe. And then I was like, well, there's a lot of green and white and red here. It reminds me of the Italian flag. I mean, I know there's a lot of flags of green and white and red. I don't even know if Italy's an option. It is, and I'm wrong. Alright, where are we? If you stand where the Union Jack unfurls, you'll see the 8th largest city in the world. Well, Union Jack, that's, isn't that the UK? Hey, here we go. Is it UK or is it, yeah. Take a look at our map. Where am I? Okay. So, I'm guessing that's Big Ben up there, and on the right, we've got probably some kind of cathedral, and the bottom left, I don't know, London Bridge. It's during the planned launches, not a surprise. That Mario kit is hard to find. Yeah, I'm not really... I'm not 100% sure how returning all these stolen artifacts is going to ultimately lead to Mario's rescue. Looks like that open door that we could travel into. But in reality is no such thing. London's been the capital for 2,000 years, although in Europe, it's an island, I hear. Why is Big Ben closed? The minute hand was stolen. Big Ben, the symbol of England, is located in the Houses of Parliament, England's Capitol Hill. It's officially called the Palace of Westminster. The Houses of Parliament or Big Ben? That "it" is very ambiguous. Originally the Palace of Edward the Confessor. At the north end of Parliament is the Clock Tower, 320 feet high. The face of the tower's clock is enormous. The minute hands alone... Minute hands? Oh yeah, because there's... It said the face of the clock. But like that would... I guess there's a clock on each side, right? The minute hands alone are 14 feet long. Although most people believe the clock itself is Big Ben, that distinction goes to the tower's 13-ton bell, which strikes the hour and lets London know all is well. Big Ben is the bell inside the clock tower. I did not know that. I got a crown. Shakespeare? Neither of those look like a minute hand to me. They know that the bell is Big Ben and not the clock, but they still call the minute hand Big Ben's. Well, maybe the bell owns the clock. William the Conqueror didn't know he was building a jewelry box for the crown jewels. Westminster comes from West Monastery. That statue watches kings crowned and buried. Oh, so... the crown, I mean, if Luigi, like... Do we have to return this crown? Can't Luigi just put it on and become the King of England? Is there an alternate ending where Luigi abandons his brother and becomes a conqueror? They don't know not to attach the hands to the bell? I mean, I can't say that that's how you do it. I'm not a clockmaker. It's the United Kingdom and Great Britain. There's a third name too. I'm not kidding. Should have been I'm not kidding. Heads will roll as they did long ago unless the crowns are replaced. You deserve to know. To be or not to be, it looks like Shakespeare to me. Is Abby short for Abigail? Why is the Tower of London closed? The crown jewels were stolen. William the Conqueror built the Tower of London for several reasons. To protect London from invasion, to oversee shipping on the Thames, and to scare his subjects. The original tower was built around 1078. It covers 18 acres on the banks of the Thames River. At various times, the tower has been a mint, a fortress, a vault, a terrible jail, and a place of execution. To say it has been a terrible jail either means, like, you know, it was horrible conditions for the prisoners, or they did a very bad job of keeping the prisoners in. That could be interpreted. That could be interpreted in different ways. Famous as a showplace for England's elaborate crown jewels, the Jewel House includes the largest cut diamond in the world, 530 carats. I feel like that's what they were trying to steal in the Great Muppet Caper. Alright, crown jewels. Who ordered the building of the Tower of London? Sir Barry the Builder. From the tower, you can see the river. Perfect. Let's get our photo. No. I want to retract everything I said about being underwhelmed by the height of the Empire State Building. I mean, this tower doesn't look any taller than any of the surrounding buildings. Hey, Buffalo Hopscotch, welcome in. I've got about 20 carrots in my fridge, so I have a bit of a way to go to match that. Yeah, 530 carrots will feed a lot of horses, Derpelganger says. But don't try to feed them all. Don't try to feed them all at once to a rabbit. You'll not be satisfied unless you enjoy the mess. Baby carrots. From the Tower of London, you have a view of this side of this Harrods department store. To be fair, Tower of London is considerably older. It was much more difficult to build a high structure back then. We landed at Heathrow. The double-decker bus driver had an English accent. Oh, we already talked. I forgot to ask that guy where we were, but we talked to him about where we were. You've landed in London in time for tea. While in England, I'm known as a female Bobby. While in England, so... yeah, I guess so. I didn't think about this before because, like, every time we go to a city, like, the same 5 characters are wandering around, but I never stopped to think whether the same 5 people were following us from city to city, or if, you know, they just happen to look like people who lived elsewhere. but I was supposed to understand. I didn't know if I was supposed to understand them as the same characters moving around, or different characters who just happen to look similar, and ignore the same sprite as being reused. But yeah, I guess they are traveling around. They don't actually speak like they're native to the places where we find them. Maybe it's not a tower, maybe it's a tower. The first guy you call you need a vehicle moved. I've been in error this whole time. I bet the concept of height was different back then. Like if you were 6'4", they'd probably be like, "It's a giant." I'm about 6 foot 6.5. 6 feet and 6 feet and a half an inch. I'm somewhere between 6'1" and 6'2", or 6 even and 6'1". Sorry, I'm somewhere around there. But for the longest time, my driver's license had 6'4" on it. It was misprinted. They gave me like 3 to 4 extra inches of height. So I was forced to wear stilts. Doing the old tippy toes trick on the measurement where, yeah. You've landed in London in time for tea. While in... Oh yeah, we already read that. Did we read the thing about Shakespeare? That's what I was trying to read. Righto. That's Bill Shakespeare's bust from Westminster Abbey. Prince Charles will one day be king. If you know you're in London, you know everything. Don't go. No, don't. Wait. Prince Charles is king now, right? It's Shakespeare. To Westminster Abbey or bust. Alpha Kenny Body, welcome in, Kaya. Good to see you. Came to hello before bed. Zelda's already pawing at me, making angry noises. Just finished watching some Frasier. Right on. I'd say that's a cute doggo you got there. Thank you for sharing some. Thank you for sharing some pics. Yes, and he hates it when you call him Prince Charles now. I just assumed he was gonna keep both titles, and he would be King Prince Charles. I can see why you're called Agent Frownie, following the high heel era. I don't know if I follow. Do you like the movie Starship Troopers? Oh, Starship Troopers is rad, Mile High Roll. I like that film. for my height. She's cute but a little mean. When I don't pay attention to her, she comes and shoves my shin and bites my knees. Or sprints and slides and flops on the ground in front of me. Alright, we got the minute hand back. I see Big Ben lent you a hand. Ben is the bell, not the clock, you understand. Alright, let's turn this in. Big Ben is a... oh my goodness. Large fellow... I mean, technically a large fellow named Ben would not be incorrect. Have a good night, Frownie. Good luck streaming. Thank you for stopping in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Sleep well. And hopefully we'll see you again sometime. Big Ben is a bell. Clock tower is... I think that was 320 feet high. Victory. It looks rather orange in this photo. I wonder if it's full of Medusa heads. There's one thing Castlevania taught me. Clock tower maintenance. Very perilous. High risk of being turned to stone. You'd look orange too if you were stuck out in the sun all day. I would. Alright, Shakespeare was stolen. It's weird that they specified the bust of Shakespeare. They didn't specify a statue of King Kong, so that why didn't they just say Shakespeare was stolen? Edward the Confessor, a one-time ruler, ordered the building of Westminster Abbey, officially known as the Collegiate Church of St. Peter in Westminster, to serve as his burial place. From his death in 1066 until 1760, most British and English sovereigns were buried there. Perhaps to get their money's worth, the abbey has also been the site of coronations and many royal weddings. Considered a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, the abbey has undergone many renovations. Well, if it was a masterpiece when it was built, why has it needed to be renovated so many times? Edward the Confessor ordered the abbey built as his... oh, I actually don't know. Burial place? What does minster mean? Monastery. We can't even see the Shakespeare we returned. It's always blue skies, always blue skies over England. I like prison. Well, you know, a tomb is a kind of prison from a certain point of view. Alright, new password. Let's go JCVYLQ7. I think you're taking over the world slowly. That's Luigi's one true goal. Domination. I mean, that looks like a pyramid. We in the Middle East somewhere? Here in Ramsey Square, Cairo, Egypt, Africa. Thank you. That was incredibly specific. Let's learn about our stuff. That King of Finders Keepers is the last brick to be put on the Great Pyramid. Is she addressing me as the King of Finders Keepers? That gingerbread clock belongs in the Mosque of Muhammad Ali, top of the Citadel. She sure is. Now you have to wear the title. I think so. I mean, we found some pretty nice treasures. You're in 396,000 square miles of desert. But don't desert us yet. It's the Cat in the Hat. But this cat is 240 feet long and 66 feet tall. Is it the Sphinx? Is that what we have? Oh, it's the headdress of the Sphinx. Doesn't that seem from another time? King Louis swapped Muhammad Ali for an Egyptian obelisk. At 481 feet high, it'll be quite a trick to return that missing pyramid brick. Hang on, how high? 481 feet. Okay, is there anyone else on this plane? No. So we'll see about turning something in. It's like that Go West song, I'm the King of Finders Keepers. That's pretty good. Did Go West have any other songs? I don't know if I've ever heard anything else by them. Why is the Mosque of Muhammad Ali closed today? The gingerbread clock was stolen. The Muhammad Ali Mosque was built by a sultan in 1430 using the Turkish style of the Ottoman Empire. Its nickname, the Alabaster Mosque, comes from the valuable white stone that covers the temple's facade. The clock tower on the courtyard's western side was a gift to the Sultan by King Louis Philip of France in return for the stone obelisk, which now stands in front of France's Palace de la Concorde. Egyptian sultans lived in the mosque until 1517. It is now used only for prayer. Okay, let's... never mind the clock. What did the Egyptians trade for the clock tower? Recipes for French fries. What will you find inside the main domed building? Oh. The Sultan's Crypt? Victory. I'm guessing a lot of these correct. Faithful is the only other one I can name. I own their CD. Can't remember the name. Don't care enough to ask Google. Don't remember any others. Yeah, I don't think I've heard anything else by them. How dare you? Pet Shop Boys made a ton of good songs. Welcome in, Stat Cat. Go West was a Pet Shop Boys disco style single. I didn't actually get that. It was funny before I even knew that was the title of one of their songs. Alright, let's check out the mosque. Photograph acquired. Onward we march. The top brick of the Great Pyramid was stolen. The ancient Greeks called the Great Pyramid of Giza one of the world's 7 great wonders. Pyramids are elaborate tombs housing the mummified remains of the pharaohs and the fantastic treasures and paraphernalia that were buried with them to ensure a comfortable afterlife. The limestone pyramid covers 13 acres of desert and is 480 feet high. Every royal pyramid entrance faces north toward the pole star. The details of the engineering and building of the wondrous pyramid still remain a mystery today. What you get is what you see. Pyramids were built to be tombs. For a moment, I don't know, I didn't see the word tombs or something. I read all the options, but I didn't read that, and then I thought there was no correct answer for a moment. The entrances to the royal pyramids always face north. Always face the exit. Again, a false answer that's technically correct. I'll have to take your word for that one, Doppelganger. The Great Pyramid. Alright, and the cleft of the Sphinx was stolen. The man-faced lion statue is named the Sphinx by the ancient Greeks. A Sphinx is a mythical monster who Like to ask riddles, then kill those unfortunate enough not to know the answer. I'd be in big trouble. The Great Sphinx was carved from one enormous piece of limestone, 240 feet long. From one piece of limestone? Wow. 240 feet long and 66 feet high. Later, the Ottoman Turks used the cat for target practice. Its nose and King Tut-style beard were knocked clean off its face. The original name meant Lord, and it is today presumed that the Sphinx was built to guard the Great Pyramids that stand behind it. I never really thought about the connection between the Sphinx and the pyramids. I guess I don't know a lot about them in general. Who gave the Sphinx its name? Advertising executives. The Greeks. The Sphinx is located in... No, I guess it'd be Giza if it's near the pyramids. Victory. The perspective feels a little off here. I don't know if it's actually built with a twist in it, but it looks like the paws are kind of tilted off to the left, but the upper body is facing kind of directly forward. Nope, stop. I thought if I opened the photo album, I would have like a checklist, you know, like this kind of thing, but that appears to not be the case. Up to and all the way to the right. Why is Peach working as a tour guide? Did she go poor after Super Mario World? Maybe those are like all of Peach's sisters. You know, only one of them gets to be the monarch, so the rest have to go out and find employment. J4NYPGM. Like Nurse Joy or Officer Jenny. Yeah, they're all the various Nurse Joys are all sisters. Alright, we appear to be in the east. Where am I? This Japanese city used to be called Edo before the emperor changed it in 1877. Let's go. I like the color palette here. Looks nice. You can go to Canada in this. I don't remember if we've been to Canada yet, but I think we might. There are Canadian options. It's one or two cities in Canada. Vancouver or Montreal. I don't think we've been to either of these places yet, though. I'm in space. And orange. Lantern? Who is Nurse Joy or Officer Ginny? They're Pokemon characters. Why is the Sensoji Temple closed today? The lantern was stolen. Alright, let's learn. The Sensoji Temple in the Asaku district of Tokyo was built in 640 AD. To enter the temple grounds, you must first pass under the Gate of Thunder, an elaborately carved arch on which hangs the giant red paper lantern sacred to the temple and its worshippers. Built in the shape of a traditional pagoda, smaller red lanterns line the arcades of the walls. The giant red lantern casts a rosy glow and lights the way for temple visitors. Cool. I feel like I didn't learn enough to pass the quiz, but I'm not afraid. The Sensoji Temple is in the Asaku district. It's built in the shape of a pagoda? Hey, we did it. Hey, Dynamite. Good to see you, my friend. I don't get what this game is supposed to be. This is an educational game. So it's a little light on the game, and a little heavy on the wandering and reading. But I still like it. It's a very comfy game. It's a very laid back experience. We travel the world and we try to recover stolen artifacts and return them to the local landmarks where they belong. This Japanese city used to be called... Oh, we already read that. The Daibutsu, or Great Buddha's House, was washed off by a tidal wave. May I have a piece of that tangerine? What? Kyoto is another big city, spelled with the same letters as this one. Are Kyoto and Tokyo spelled with the same letters when you write them with the Japanese alphabet too? That's a round citrus fruit with great appeal. The Buddha is brass. Go on, have a feel. Why is the Great Buddha of Kamakura closed today? The orange was stolen. Is it an orange or a tangerine? Those aren't the same thing, right? The Great Buddha of Kamakura is not the only Great Buddha in Japan, but he is the only one you can enter by buying a ticket through a door located smack in the middle of his big brass belly. Sitting 37 feet tall, the brass Buddha, or Daibutsu, is best honored by the faithful, placing flowers and oranges at his feet. This Daibutsu used to sit in a small wooden house, but he was rendered homeless after a tidal wave, tsunami, washed it away. Huh. Alright, turn in the orange. Daibutsu lost his house because of a rotten oranges tidal wave. The Buddha is 37 feet tall. Victory. Don't be lying, I heard the giant octopus with missiles boss is coming up, Dynamite says. That would be, I would suddenly feel considerably less relaxed. Maybe Japanese tends to not be phonetic though, and there are more than one set of characters. Yeah, I kind of thought that would just be a quirk of the way the city's names appeared in English. Come on over to the Ginza. They're serving sushi. Well done. I guess if it's sushi, it's not well done. Hey, Quantum, welcome in. When I was a kid, I loved Mario. Then I played this. I was gutted. Yeah, I've said several times, like, I understand why people who got this game as a kid hated it, but playing it as an adult and like going into it knowing what to expect, I'm actually having a really good time with it. It's I find it to be a very relaxing experience. It's very low stakes, but it's I like I like seeing the scenery of the different parts of the world, enjoying the music. I'm having a good time with it. As crazy as that may seem. The sounds To, Kyo, and Kyo To would maybe just be reversed characters. Don't know Japanese enough to tell you more. No worries. You're in the land of the rising sun, and their white flag with the red dot symbols one. I'm still missing the last artifact. There's only 2 Koopas left, though. How do you solve a problem like Maria? I mean Frownie, my favorite streamer with my least favorite content. I appreciate you putting up with me, Dynamite. I promise you, once I get a few more of these games that are on the schedule right now finished up, I promise you I'm gonna try and play something cool. Welcome to Tokyo, my little man. You are in the capital city of Japan. And our new treasure is what? I'm not entirely sure what that is. Flower pot? The Sumo Association has been worrying silly. Their champion, without his apron, has been fairly chilly. This is a sumo wrestler's outfit? I didn't know they came in different colors. Well, if I was going to be a sumo wrestler, I would certainly want to wear purple. What counts as cool here? Me, Mile Hyrule says. Well, I meant something that I thought Dynamite would think is cool. Something some kind of action game on the Genesis, perhaps. I've got a couple that well, I've got a lot of them on my to-do list. They wear only a belt, but there is a catch that goes around his waist before the match. Okay, is this the place? The Koku Gaiken Arena. Why is it closed? A sumo apron was stolen. Sumo wrestling has been both a popular art form and sport since the 6th century and originated in Shinto temples. The wrestlers begin training in their early teens by endless practice, strenuous exercise, and the avid eating of special foods. To become serious contenders, the men must reach an enormous size, 250 to 375 pounds. The aim of a match is for one contender to force the other out of the ring or to touch the clay surface with any body part besides a foot. The wrestlers, so if you get stumbled and have to catch yourself with your hand, you're out. The wrestlers appear first in the heavily embroidered aprons donated by dedicated fans and then stripped down to skimpy loincloths and a special kind of bun-like hairstyle. The aim of sumo wrestling is to force the opponent to eat special foods, to blink, out of the ring. The wrestling arena is in the shape of a circle? Groovy. Definitely a thing of English, StatCat says, the Tokyo Kyoto thing. I mean, I do see a lot of similar characters there, but yeah, they're not one for one, reversed in the same way. Or not, cut in half and flipped. I've got a cool niche title you probably never heard of, Quantum says. It's called Sonic the Hedgehog. I've played, I've played almost every Sonic game on the Genesis. I've played every standalone game. I've done Sonic 1, 2, and 3. I've done Sonic and Knuckles. I've done 3D Blast. I guess I still have Sonic Spinball. I haven't done the combined cartridge of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I started it one day, but I didn't make it all the way through. I gotta give it another try. Never heard of it ever, Statcat says. The pronunciation of the syllables in the Japanese alphabet, the pronunciation never changes. Did you know in Japan it was called Doki Doki Sonic? I've got work, but good luck, Frownie. Have fun. Thank you for stopping in, Quantum. I really appreciate that. I hope your work goes smoothly and productively, and hopefully we'll get to catch you again. T5MV 3 2 Q. That 5 looks a lot like an S. I better rewrite that. I would love to see Frown Man play Doki Doki Literature Club. I don't know why. I know a little bit about what that game is supposed to be like, but I don't know why you would want to see me play any visual novel. I'd be more miserable playing a visual novel than I would be playing Echo. Hey, Streaming Fist, welcome in. I'm done with Noita. Done with as in beat it? Or done with it as in abandoning it? Hopefully the former, so we can say GG. Maybe that's why I want to see it. Why do you want to hurt me, Mile High Roll? Tom Selleck has left the building. It covers nearly one half of South America. It's the 5th largest country in the world. Alright. We've got spotlights. That's an interesting artifact. Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Colombia. What's the biggest of these? Definitely Brazil, right? Yeah. Let's learn about these floodlights. The big spotlight is needed. The statue is almost 21 feet high. Alright, let's go. How far did you get? That's done as in abandoning it. Sometimes that's for the best. You know, I hate to abandon games. It drives me crazy, but I mean, I do it sometimes because it's definitely for the best sometimes. How far did you get? It's a rough game. Do you have a Dreamcast? I do, Mile High Roll. I don't have any games for it, but I hear they're very easy to obtain. Jay, welcome in. I love playing as Green Mario. Hope you're well, Jay. Welcome to Mario is Missing. The comfiest Mario game in all the land. Oh, Quantum P1 Magnum PI. I did not get it, Dynamite. that went right over my head, I'm afraid. So I have a Dreamcast. The only game I've ever had for it so far, well, it came with a copy of Crazy Taxi that never worked. It was just brutally, horrifically scratched and damaged. So technically I own a copy of Crazy Taxi, but I never really owned a copy of Crazy Taxi. But the only game I have for the Dreamcast is Typing of the Dead. But it doesn't that disc doesn't work anymore either. I think I need to get it buffed or something. So currently I don't have anything I can play on the Dreamcast, but I could probably get something pretty easily. It's the land of Samba and Mamba, the soul music of Brasilia. While eating a banana, I slipped on the sands of Copacabana. What? Oh, I picked up a seashell. I thought we were still talking about the searchlights. Without that light, you could hardly see any of the 7-ton statue. Alright, and we're right next to the giant Christ statue. It's closed because the spotlight is stolen. Standing at the top of the 2,037-foot peak of Corcovado, the statue of Christ the Redeemer holds out his arms as if to embrace the city of Rio de Janeiro. The concrete image of Jesus Christ weighs 700 tons. In 1931, most of Rio's churches pooled their collected money and erected the statue on top of the mountain. The top of the mountain is often in fog, but the huge spotlights keep the figure visible from every corner of the city. Alright, and from what material is the Redeemer made? Oh no, I just read marble? Play-Doh. No, I just read it and Alright, let's go work somewhere else. She won't, She doesn't want me to brute force the question, so I won't. Doing alright, hope everything is good on your side. I'm doing pretty well, Jay. I've got nothing to complain about. Shenmue would be a fun game, Mahiro says. I love Shenmue. I don't know a whole lot about that game, but I also do believe that's a very story-heavy game, right? I thought, so for a moment, Mile High Roll, for a moment I thought that you wanted me to play some of these games, you know, like Doki Doki Literature Club. I thought you wanted me to play some of these games because you thought that I would hate them and I would have a bad time. But maybe you just have maybe you just have some weird desire to watch someone completely hate a game you love. Do you really want me to play a game you love and complain about, like, oh, this is tedious, frustrating, annoying trash? Maybe. You like Dark Souls? I did love Dark Souls. No story in Dark Souls. No mandatory story. I don't know how to feel about the Dreamcast, Dynamite says. It was such an ambitious harbinger of too little too late for Sega. Genesis was awesome. I wanted to believe Saturn was good, but it wasn't. Then I didn't bother with the Dreamcast. Sega made too many bad decisions by then. They really did seem to sort of flounder there for quite a while. Dark Souls is a top 5 game for me, Mon Hyrule says. Lots of fun Dark Souls was. We were talking about it last night. I don't remember if you were here for that part of the stream. Just, you know, I think Hrafnir was asking me if I was gonna try and do a different character build when I did other Dark Souls games, and I started to say I would like to, but when I think about, like, an honest answer, I'm not one that really changes my habits and changes my ways very easily. So while I would like to say I'm gonna try and play the other Souls games differently, if I look at myself realistically and honestly, I'm probably gonna try and run around all of them as with an axe and a shield. I'm probably never gonna change. Hey, Port Jams. Good evening, or good afternoon, rather. Dark Souls Frownie Edition. Buddha Fingers, welcome in. Thank you for the wheel. We'll give that a spin in just a moment. Do you have Alien Isolation for the Switch? I do not. That would be a game I'm somewhat curious to play. I like the Alien movies. I like the aesthetic of Alien. I like that cassette punk future. Several hundred years later, we've mastered space travel, and we're all still using DOS. I like that vision. Switch version comes with the DLC, so that would be something I potentially would be interested in. I have a friend who's going to quit their playthrough of Dark Souls. It's hard to watch, Buddhafingers says. Oh, that's sad. I mean, if they're not having fun with it, then if it's something that they just can't find the fun in, then I mean, I kind of get it, but it's sad to see someone to hear someone abandoning a game that I had so much fun with. One of the DLC is a retelling of the first movie. Well, I certainly hope not one for one, because that would be awfully dull, knowing everything that's going to happen. Saturn had a lot of good games, StatCat says. Most of them were ported, though. I'm far from expert in its library. One of those Dragoon games. Something Dragoon is a Saturn game, I think. I hear that spoken of highly. Panzer Dragoon. Yeah, people seem to like that one. Is Shenmue the game where you're like, hey, do you remember seeing a black car on the day when it rained? I have no idea, Streaming Fist. Has one of the best soundtracks of a game. They keep grinding levels and trying to fight the bell gargoyles. I wish they'd try elsewhere. I only, if I remember right, I only had to level grind. I think I only had to level grind once. I think it was just the 4 kings that I went on a serious level grind for. I mean, I would stop and top off my souls if I was close to a level, but I don't recall an instance of specifically hanging out to level up to take down of having to do that for any of the bosses, aside from the 4 kings, unless I'm misremembering. So yeah, if you they really should back off, right? He hasn't beaten like any bosses yet. If you back off and explore somewhere, because I made it through without stopping to level grind, so far as I recall, and I was losing half my souls. and I still didn't have to level grind. Outside of the 4 kings. But yeah, I think if I remember my playthrough right, I think that when I found the bell gargoyle, I think that I backed away from that fight and explored for a while before coming back to them, and then I fought them with just the crossbow. All right, let's spin the wheel. They're one of the several bosses that I employed the oops all arrows strategy for, as I recall. That's a candy. That's a warhead. Nice. I haven't had one of those in a while. Let's go. I poured out all my warheads into a big Tupperware, and I'll just reach over and grab one without looking. And we get black cherry. As a story, Alien Isolation is a better sequel to Alien than Aliens. That's pretty high praise. It actually doesn't have much of a sour kick to it, this one. It's very underwhelming. And fair enough. You probably want to hold back on telling me too much about the game, though, Mile High Roll, if you're hoping that I'll play it. If I learn too much about it, my interest in it might dwindle. Well, that was a very underwhelming spin of the wheel. I landed on what I wanted, but I didn't actually get like the sour punch that I wanted from it. I'm just looking forward to the next skeleton moment in the next adventure. An hour and a half of just kicking skeletons off of ledges. I can't believe I thought that was the only way to kill them. I don't know what my problem was. If anyone somehow doesn't know what we're referring to, in Dark Souls there are these skeleton enemies. And as you're fighting them, occasionally when you damage them, they'll collapse into a pile of bones for a moment, and then they'll reform and come back at you again. And for some reason, I interpreted that to be like when they collapse into the pile of bones, they're dead. Like you've successfully killed them. But then when the bones reform, it's them coming coming back together, like basically just completely regenerating. And so I thought the skeletons were invincible, even though they have a life bar, and you can see that when they get back up, their life bar is partially depleted, and so you are wearing away their life bar, so you are killing them. But somehow I completely didn't see any of the life bars floating around every skeleton on the screen, and I thought they were all invincible. And so I thought the only way to clear them out of the area was to lure them to a cliff and kick them all over the edge so that they wouldn't be able to come back. And so then I spent hours running through this cave system. Every time I found a skeleton, luring it back to this one cliff and trying to kick him over the edge. I laughed so hard my face hurt, Buddhafinger says. There was no problem, it was absolutely the best. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure they use a black car, or another one is, I want to talk about the day the snow turned to rain. Gamer Pro, welcome in. Welcome to Mario's Missing, and a little bit of a Dark Souls reminiscence. With the confirmation of the new Dragon Ball reboot, can we get a Mario's Missing scene in it? But instead of Mario being missing, it's actually Yamcha that's lost? I know nothing about Dragon Ball board jams. I'm lost. It was like a little ledge dance. Just at the end, you kick them off a cliff. Alright, to the south is Argentina, to your left is Peru. I'd brush up on my Portuguese if I were you. That's a big spotlight, and from what I hear, it belongs on top of Corcovado. Okay, let's learn about the seashell as well. It's from the world's most famous beach. I'll give you a sand dollar for it. Okay, and we've got steel cable. And possibly a wrench. Okay, seashell goes to the beach. Let's learn about the beach. The seashell was stolen. We can't reopen the beach. Going to the beach is an art form in Rio. There are different sand spots for tourists, the young and the old, the rich and the poor. Certain beaches around the world are well known for well known for surfing. I looked away mid-sentence and came back. Well known for people watching. Oh, it is. Are well known for surfing, shell collecting, or, as in this case, people watching. The world's most famous beach, Copacabana, curves 4.5 kilometers into Guanabara Bay. It sits in front of the world's most densely populated urban area. Those who know say that on any summer weekend, upward of 100,000 people will spend some time on Copacabana Beach. Okay, can I pass the quiz? How long is the beach? 4.5 kilometers. Oh no, the name of the street that runs along the beach. No one, Oh no, I remember both of these words. I was wrong. She asked about information she didn't give me. Can we turn this into Street Beat? If only I had a boombox. I mean, the background tunes we already have are pretty swell. Alright, I think we asked about the seashell, but we didn't ask about the steel cable. Sugar Loaf rises 1,300 meters over Guanabara Bay. If you don't replace that, we'll have to walk the whole way. I guess that's a bridge cable? Sugar Loaf? Is that the name of the bridge? San Francisco doesn't seem quite so far when I look at that cable car. You finally made it to Rio de Janeiro, the South American tropics of Brazil. Sweet of you, Super Sleuth, to find the cable car that climbs Sugar Loaf Mountain. Alright, so it's like a ski lift kind of situation. You found a seashell from the seashore. Its turf is the surf at Copacabana. We were scared to see the Redeemer without a spotlight. None of these have answered the questions that I've been asked. Sugarloaf is such a weird name. Rio is righto above the Tropic of Cancer. The Redeemer statue is surrounded by fog. Do an about face and put that back. Tourists would shell out good money for that along the Copacabana's 4.5 kilometer shore. I'm not learning any... No one's telling me what I need to know. That little car goes halfway to the stars, and its view of Rio is the best by far. I mean, no. No. No matter how high it goes up, it does not go halfway to the stars. I can't get out of this dialogue. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Yeah. I have a hard time with that one. Hey, Dollarphil, welcome in. Thank you for the raid, my friend. How are you tonight? What were you playing? How did it go? Something retro? We're doing Mario is Missing. I've been playing this for a couple nights now. I was working my way through it. It's actually quite a fun game. You wouldn't believe it. But I actually like this game. I'm having a good time. It's very laid back, very chill, very cozy. Doing some Star Force myself, working on some marathons. Star Force, also known as Megaforce. Vertical scrolling game. I don't know that I know this one. Vertical shooter. Right on. Hopefully it's not predecessor to Star Soldier. Gonna do the whole series. Oh, right on. Hopefully they're not crushingly difficult. I think this is one of the few I have complete in box. Oh, right on. Either this or Time Machine. I've got them both. I've got them both loose myself. Probably ex-rental copies. I couldn't say for sure. I'd never really gotten around to playing it before though, and I kind of expected way worse than what I got. I don't know. This game receives a lot of hate, so, and I mean I can understand why someone would hate it, but I really don't. Only have 3 in cardboard, I think. I only have a few. What do I have? What do I have in box? I've got Mega Man X. Which is mostly complete. I've got Kirby's Avalanche. Except I don't have... Here's the thing. I have the box, and I have the manual, and I have the game for Kirby's Avalanche. But I don't have that white surround, like, insert. The thing that the game fits into before you slide into the box. I don't have that piece for Kirby's Avalanche. I don't know how that gets lost and not the box, but... the only Super Nintendo games... Oh, I have Killer Instinct sealed in box, so that one's complete. I never remember that one because it's sealed. And I've got Link to the Past complete in box. And that one is, so far as I'm aware, absolutely complete. Like, it's got all the, like, the little, like, white info book and warranty card or whatever. Like, it's got all the stuff that came with it. Like, the Mega Man has the manual in the box, but I don't think it has that little info book. Or, like, any of the little, like, advertising things that might have come with it. But yeah, that's just a few. And I think the only Genesis game where I have the box is Ghouls and Ghosts. Got a couple rentals yourself? Yeah, I've got a lot of rental copies. You know it's an authentic rental copy when it says "Be Kind, Rewind" on the cartridge. Stat Cat says, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." I 100% have some with those stickers. Probably my copy of Sculptor's Cut. Or maybe Pod Racer. Episode 1 Pod Racer. I think that, like, that one, if I remember right, that cartridge is just completely, like, ruined with stickers. Just, it's got its weight in stickers attached to it. And a phone number, yeah. It's got a few of them with the phone numbers from the or the address and phone numbers of the stores. There was a point when I used to clean those kind of things off, but I stopped that, fortunately. When I was first collecting, I would clean, like, names and stickers and stuff off the carts, but no longer. Now I keep all that history. Sugarloaf Mountain is so steep. The ride up its side is accomplished in 2 stages. Do a little bit of reading here real quick. I shall tell you, that's a shell from Copacabana Beach. I mean, I know the... No one's telling me anything useful. The big spotlight is needed. The statue is almost... we already heard that a long time ago. I used to get rid of the stickers and stuff too, but now I kind of wish I didn't. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like having them on there now. They're much more of an interesting curiosity to me now. I used to see them as trash that I wanted off my games, but somewhere along the way that reversed. Alright, well I'm gonna look in my computer, and we've talked to everyone about everything. I'm gonna just quickly reread this myself. So what I got wrong before is I didn't know the material the statue is made of, and it says concrete here, so that was just me. 2037-foot peak of the mountain. It's in 1931, weighs 700 tons. It's made of concrete. Let's try again. Let's try again here. It's made from concrete. What groups donated money to erect the statue? Churches. Bingo players. Perfect. Get our photograph. I think it's the same clouds in the sky everywhere we go. I haven't been paying really close attention, but I'm starting to think the cloud background is always the exact same clouds. My sister would used to try to put crayon on texta marks with stickers on my original Xbox games back in 2005 when she was a baby. I don't recall ever putting any or texta marks. I don't recall ever putting my name or any stickers on any of my games, except my N64 games. On a lot of them, I have put I've used a label maker to print the name of the game and put it on the top of the game, since they don't have end labels. And I actually have a set of end label stickers that Jelly got for me off of like Etsy or something like that. And it's just a matter of like not being bothered to sit down and apply them. But I don't think like I ever put like a name or address sticker on any of my games. Or wrote on them. Oh, hang on. Never mind. Let me check this again. I don't know. This is tricky because I feel like... I don't know. We were asked what the name of the road that the beach is on is called, but nothing in the game tells us that. I mean, I'm not seeing it here. And I don't see a street name in any of these. That's so weird. It asked us a question that it didn't give us an answer to. Has this game been hard? I always thought it seemed pretty tough. Actually, it's actually been super easy. Dollar Phil. I've had very little struggles with it. This is the most difficulty that I've had, and it's just a weird sort of thing where, yeah, the name of the street that runs along the beach. It doesn't actually give us that piece of information in the game. That's the first time it's been like that. Yeah, I haven't had any trouble with any. Like, I haven't solved every single quiz first try, but I've solved every one, I think, second try, and really easily. So this is the only time I've ever kind of struggled. Usually, like when you talk to Princess Peach here, she gives you an information brochure and you read that, and then the questions that she asks, the answers to them are in that brochure. So you've literally just read the answer a few seconds ago. On a few very rare occasions, one of the people in the town have the answer to one of the questions, but that even that doesn't happen very often. And most of the time, what's happened is I've gone up to her, I've read the brochure and taken the quiz, and one of the questions is not in the brochure. So I'm like, okay, and then I go and find the person that has the answer, and then I come back and take the quiz again, and it doesn't repeat that question. So it didn't matter anyway. When I come back and on the second quiz, it asked me 2 questions from the brochure, so the piece of data I went and collected was useless. Tourists can scale the mountain by trolley car. Sugarloaf got its name from... Uh-oh. Portuguese sailors? That was a guess. That was a complete guess. Had it since I was a kid, but don't even know how I ended up with it, and don't care to try it. Sugarloaf Mountain, here we are. Alright, let's check that one too. Did that say anything about... Oh, we didn't get the brochure. I didn't read the brochure for that one. Well, I got lucky that I was able to answer those. Can I still read the brochure? No, I can't talk to her anymore. I've been locked out of a piece of content. I rip the playthrough. Oh well. Copacabana Beach is world famous for windsurfing, originating the beach ball, multicolored sand, and people watching. Oh, it's still asking the same question. Hey, I got it finally. Where are you supposed to find that piece of information? I don't get it. Is it in the background? Avindia Atlantica? Those words, I've not come across those words anywhere in the game. It's not printed in the background. Yeah, it's not in here. That's the, it's in the instruction book. That's the, so far, that's the first time the game has failed to give us a piece of info. Or the back of the box. Oh, Miyamoto, he got me. He put the answer in, one of the two places he knew I'd never look. Alright, new password. J S F R N G Q. Thank you for the GG. Was that the last, door for this room? It was. Boss time. Victory. Luigi always wins. Are you doing this all stream? That's the plan. I just have one game for tonight. I was saying if I finish this in the next 2 hours or so, then we might play Jump King in the back half of the stream. But I only put this one on the schedule because I was hoping to finish it tonight. I don't know how big it is though. But don't, if you hang around waiting for Jump King, you might be disappointed. Or you might not. Or this might be the end of the game. Hang on. Oh. We did find Mario. It looks like victory. Victory. That's the game, my friends. Oh, Mile Hyrule. We never went to Canada. just like my vacation a couple weeks ago. I never made it to Canada. Thank you for the GG. This is awful. This is so bad because now this means I've got to play 4 hours of Jump King. Yeah. I was just saying, oh, don't hold your breath. I don't think we're going to make it to that game tonight. Bowser's going to die from hypothermia out there? I think Bowser I think he died on impact. It looked like, if I'm not mistaken, it looked like he froze solid and then shattered into a million shards of ice. Maybe I missed something. I did look away. But it looks like he's gone. The end. Well, this was a lot of fun. I actually kind of wish the game was bigger. I wish we got to go to more places. 4 hours of Jump King, and at the end of the 4 hours, you'll be at the bottom again. I mean, we've played it for several hours on the stream already, and I'm at the bottom where we left off. He's a giant turtle. He's cold-blooded. He needs a heat lamp. Oh. Well, thank you for enjoying Mario's Missing with me, my friends. This game is a good time. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. Oh no, he's missing again. Well, that's the thing. I don't think the game is randomized. Does anyone know? I'll ask. I'll lower the no backseating rule for a moment. Is the game randomized at all? Do you get different cities every time you play it? I mean, I wouldn't know where any of the cities we were. Like, we did go to San Francisco before, so that's, you know, it's not immediately new. My attention was missing. I don't believe it is, Jay says. So, because I thought maybe on each playthrough you would get, I thought maybe on each playthrough you would get a different set of cities to explore, so there might be a reason to come back to it. Toronto was in the game? I think it's Vancouver and Montreal. Is Toronto in the game? Vancouver, Montreal. Yeah, this one doesn't have. Yeah, apparently there's a PC release, or maybe it's DOS. It might have different cities. There's also an NES version, which might have different cities too. Who knows? You didn't start this tonight, did you? Oh, no. This is my third night with it. You go to 15 cities, and I did 5 a night. I didn't know there were only 15. but the first each night so far I had done 5, and then we did 5 tonight. I was gonna do just as many as I could tonight, as I was actually kind of expecting that there might be like at least 20 cities or 25, because there's a lot on the map, and I didn't necessarily think we'd go to every one of them. Like, I thought probably we'd visit each country once, which is not the case, because we go to the US at least twice. I don't remember if we went to Texas or not. I googled it. SNES has 3 floors, DOS has 5. Okay, yeah, so there we go. That explains it then. And the cities are the same as well. Thank you for looking that up for me. Saves us some headache. So I don't reckon I'll be playing this again anytime soon, since we've done since we've done all there is. If the Mario Brothers if they're Mario Brothers, are they Mario and Luigi Mario? Of course they are. It explains that in the movie, Buddha Fingers. They get arrested, and when they're being booked, there's a whole scene about it. Yeah. Name, Mario. Last name, Mario. And you, Luigi. Luigi? No, Luigi Mario. How many Marios are there between the two of you? Well, there's 3. You see that there's Mario, and Luigi Mario. Get these Marios out of here. Yeah, they very explicitly explained it in the film. And as we all know, Super Mario Bros. The movie, 1993, is the only Mario Brothers canon. Every other piece of media, video game, comic book, cartoon, cereal box, everything else is just extended universe and Elseworlds. The movie is the only official Mario canon. That is the stance of this stream. The production was a miserable time for everyone. That's what I've heard. But I mean, that's how great art comes about. Apparently, the production of the first Star Wars movie was a nightmare, and look at that. You're the Master Tuesday that loves the Mario movie instead of Tuesday. I have heard there was some drinking behind the scenes. Yeah, I've heard it was pretty rough. I do think that some of what you hear is probably exaggerated because the movie failed. I think there's a little bit of embarrassment because the movie failed. So when people who worked on it talk about it, I think they're going to have a tendency to cast it perhaps in a slightly more negative light than maybe would have been pure reality. But I don't know. That's just my hypothesis. I mean, I'm sure that in some ways they did have an awful, stressful, miserable time, but I don't know if it was as bad as what you hear. If the movie had been a success, their struggles might have been cast in a much more positive light. But that's all right. We got the all their struggles were worth it in the long run because the final product that we got is a masterpiece. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the sacrifices they made, and I consider them all worth it. Alright, my friends, I'm going to take a BRB. I'm going to step away for a short while. I'm going to grab some coffee and switch the console over. We're going to go over to the Switch, and I'm going to torture myself with Jump King for the rest of the night. And probably make no progress. So hopefully some of you will want to come along for that. I hope you've enjoyed Mario's Missing as much as I had, and hopefully I'll get to have it. I hope that I'll get to see you again in just a moment. I'll be back with you shortly.